Hey YouTube, welcome to Sunkerns Lab. Today I have an NU battle on Pokemon Showdown. Now it's been a while since I've commentated, a Showdown battle, so cut me some slack if I'm a little rusty. It's been probably about 2 weeks, maybe, and even that, I don't know. I don't want to say I slacked on it, but it was really quick. It was really easy, and I didn't really have, whatever. Anyway, this battle is longer. This battle is a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit more intensive to narrate because there's a lot of stuff that happens in this battle that I need to cram into, X amount of turns. So, this is going to be a good battle to get me back into the swing of things. And yeah, so looking at my opponent's team, he has a very bulky team. Even his offensive Pokemon are bulky. I mean, Rampardos, which could be somewhat offensive, is relatively bulky, has good typing. Obviously, Tangela is one of the most bulky Pokemon in NU. Pidgeot is relatively bulky, surprisingly. Wartortle, obviously, is bulky as hell. Ferret, relatively bulky. Corsola, bulky as hell, and it has a Regenerator. Now, 2 of his Pokemon have Regenerator, and that's going to play a huge factor in this match. That's going to be a huge factor in this match, excuse me. So, yeah, I'm going to not ramble about the team preview anymore, and I'm just going to get into the battle. I decided to lead off with my Skuntank, predicting him to lead with his Corsola, and that's actually exactly what he does. He leads with his Corsola. I'm predicting him to go for the Stealth Rocks. I go for the Taunt, but he predicts that correctly and goes for the Scald. Fortunately for me, he does not get the burn. Now, this guy has some garbage luck. Let's just say that much. I switch out into my Rotom Frost, expecting him to go for the Scald again. I didn't want to get burned on my Skuntank, so I switched out into my Rotom, just to take the incoming Scald and possibly take the burn on that, but he ends up going for the Scald, doesn't get the burn, and then I Volt Switch out and he goes for the Mirror Coat. Now, I did not predict that. I just coincidentally switched out into my Skuntank to renew my Taunt so he couldn't set up his rocks. But luckily for me, I did switch into my Skuntank, because if I hadn't switched into my Skuntank, something would have died to that Mirror Coat, and obviously that would have been a pain in the ass. So anyway, I go for the Taunt, he goes for the Scald 2 more times, does not get a burn. And on the next turn, he switches out into his Wartortle to get his Regenerator health back and just to switch into something else to take hits. I go for the Crunch, and I get the Defense Drop. Okay? Then he switches out into his Tangela, I go for the Crunch again, and I get another Defense Drop. So far, he has gone for, I think, 6 Scalds. Maybe 4, maybe 5, somewhere in there. Not one burn. I got 2 Defense Drops with my Crunches. Now, it's not over, trust me. I go for the Taunt on the Tangela. I didn't want him to Leech Seed me. I didn't want him to Sleep Powder me. Unfortunately for me, though, he does have the knockoff, which is kind of frustrating because, I mean, as much as Black Sludge isn't, a game changer at this point, it is a little bit unfortunate to lose out on that because it is passive healing, and that's always helpful, especially when your opponent is attempting to Regenerator stall you, which is what he's effectively doing right now. And on that note, I actually predicted him to switch out and continue Regenerator stalling with his Tangela, and that's why I went for the Pursuit, but he ends up staying in, going for the Giga Drain, and then proceeding to go for the Leech Seed. And at this point, I'm basically forced to switch out, combined with the fact that he took my Black Sludge away, well, not took it, but knocked it off me, and the fact that he has me Leech Seeded, I'm forced to switch out. I switch into my Rotom Frost. He predicted me to go for the Blizzard and goes into his Wartortle, but unfortunately for him, I predict that easily. I mean, half of his team is weak to Electric, so it wasn't that hard of a prediction, but I predict that, go for the Volt Switch, and end up weakening him to the point where my Zangoose can come in on the next turn and take him out with a Guts-boosted Facade. So, anyway, he switches into his Tangela on my Zangoose. Basically, I mean, Tangela is one of the most physically defensive Pokemon in the tier. Well, hell, even in the game. Like, it has so much physical defense that even some of the most powerful physical attackers have a hard time breaking it, but anyway, Tangela comes in, goes for a few Giga Drains, I go for the Taunt, blah blah blah, I get another Defense Drop, which is fucking insane, and then I go into my Rotom Frost when he takes me out with the Giga Drain, and now I'm predicting him to predict me to over-predict. I don't know if that made any sense, but I go for the Blizzard, predicting him to stay in, predicting me to go for the Volt Switch, predicting him to go into his Corsola, but he makes the safe play, goes into his Corsola, but luckily for me, I am able to hit 2 Blizzards and take out that Corsola, which is great because one of his main walls is, well, the second of his main walls out of the 3 of them is now out of the way, so I'm able to take that thing out with a Blizzard. He brings in his Ariados. I don't want him setting up on my face. At the very least, I'd like to get my Golurk in without being poisoned, and I like to be able to set up my Stealth Rock. So yeah, point is like I switch into my Golurk, set up my Stealth Rocks. He brings in his Tangela after setting up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, and I go for the Dynamic Punch, couple Stone Edges. Basically, at this point, I'm trying to get a crit and some Confusion Hacks, because at this point, that's my only hope in wearing this Tangela down without bringing in my Rotom Frost, and I don't want to bring in my Rotom Frost, considering the fact that he could go for a Giga Drain or a Sleep Powder or a Leech Seed and, start wearing that thing down when it's already at quite a low health. So yeah, anyway, he takes me out with a few Giga Drains. I go for a few Stone Edges, don't get a crit, don't get any paralysis. No big deal, but I am able to bring in my Rotom Frost on the next turn, and I'm basically just going to go for a Blizzard, because at this point, nothing on his team can take a Blizzard. Actually, nothing on his team except for his other thingy, his Tangela, can take a Volt Switch even, so yeah, anyway, I take out his Ariados with an easy Blizzard, and he brings in this Furret. And the point of this Furret is bullshit. This Furret is bullshit, because Furret has 90 base speed, meaning that if it's Scarfed, which I think it is, it's going to outspeed my whole entire team. Every single member of my team will be outsped, and if he weakens my team enough, that could be a huge problem, because I cannot outspeed and take a hit from that thing with any of my Pokemon unless my Salk has it sturdy intact, and like I said, if he were to wear that down beforehand, he could easily sweep my team with the Furret. But unfortunately for him, he does make the mistake here. I take out his Pidgeot. I don't remember what happened, I wasn't paying attention, but he brings in his Furret expecting to outspeed me, but unfortunately for him, I do have Quick Attack, and Guts boosted Stab Quick Attack does a shit ton. There's no better way to describe that. It does a shit ton, and that Furret goes down, and now his last is his Tangela, and you might think, oh, the battle's over, he just has a Tangela. Nope, just kidding, Tangela is bulky as fuck. I bring in my Salk, I go for the Ice Punch, it does nothing. It does, like, less than shit. It does garbage. It does nothing. It's worthless. It's useless. And so it does so little that he's literally able to gain back almost all of the health he's losing with Giga Drain. So I'm not even going to be able to kill him with my Salk unless I get a crit. And I don't get a crit, and he kills me off with Giga Drain. He's back up to, what, 6% or so? Fortunately for me, though, fortunately for me, 6% is plenty of not enough health to live a Thunderbolt from my Rotom Frost, and I'm able to take him out for the very close 1-0 victory. It probably could have been a 2-0 victory had I gone into my Rotom Frost in the first place and just gone straight for the Blizzard, but I didn't want to risk him sleep powdering me or something, because this thing was my only answer. So I figured that was my best option, to wear him down and then bring this in and finish him off. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much the game. Let me just say, if you use a Tangela, you're a dick. It's a great Pokemon, but you are a dick. Tangela is such an asshole. Such an ass. It is such an ass. I don't even know how to describe it. It's so painful to deal with. Pretty much the only way you're going to kill a Tangela is if you predict it to switch in and smack it with something like a Blizzard. Because it does not die. The thing does not die. And even if you're like, oh yeah, it's down to like 2%, it's going to die. Nope, it switches out and lives, so I mean, I think that's pretty much going to be the title of this video. Tangela is a dick. Because that's pretty much what this video entails. It just shows Tangela walling my whole team. So, yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. And, if you want to see my previous video on specifically my previous Showdown battle commentary, you can click the previous button on the screen. If you want to see the next one after it's been uploaded, you can click the next button on the screen. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, feel free to click that subscribe button, and once again, it will be on the screen. So, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I figure I should explain it anyway. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.